Hello.
Hello.
Uh, I guess we can get started. Hi, welcome to the communications SIG where we talk about websites. So, the only thing I've really got to report on is automation for website documentation. I'd hoped Morgan or another approver would be here. Actually, here's a good. Okay. So we've got it set up to. We have a. Let me find PR. Yeah. So we have a way now to automatically do a pull work, or we have a GitHub action that can um, push the changes from like a repo into the website. Like here's. Sorry. Oh, sorry. Like there's an example. The problem is that it's me. Like we're using my GitHub token because the TC like because Sergey was basically like, we don't have a global thing for this. But I don't think any of the individual maintainers could use theirs because they don't have permissions on the website repo. So we're kind of at a weird confluence of problems where we would either need someone on the TC or someone that has org wide permissions to generate a token that everyone could use, or we would need to have every maintainer, or at least one maintainer from each SIG, have permissions on the website. Or we keep using me and then maybe get more approvers. Would anyone like to volunteer as an approver or reviewer for the website that is not named Austin Parker?
I would, but I'm not even set up to run the site locally. And also, I'm not formally a web developer. So those are
Neither am I. Hadn't stopped
limitations.
me.
Yeah, but you're an actual engineer. So that's a factor.
Get out of here with this actual engineer business.
Um, I mean, I'm fine with being one. I would want to get, uh, yeah, I guess I would want to get the site running locally and then figure out, uh, yeah, mainly that. But I'm probably not the right person for it, is what I'm saying.
Um, this is right up my alley, but I also don't want to commit to, or is there like a turnaround time for PR review and like what's the commitment there?
Uh, pretty. I mean, we don't have like a published SLA or anything, right? But I try to review things within a day or two of them coming up. Most of the PR review. So the biggest thing that we need is for, like, if you just focus on the docs update ones, which is really all we need. We need someone that can approve those. Those are actually already reviewed. So the only thing that we would need to make sure of is that it doesn't break the build. And if it does, go back and like open an issue that says, "Hey, this breaks the website build," right? But in terms of the content, that's all being reviewed presumably by the SIG making the update in the first place. So we're not actually on the hook for any of that. So really, it's just rubber stamping. Also,
And
oh, go on.
and you can't use like CI tooling to run the builds on their PR.
The problem is that they don't have the permissions to directly create branches, to directly create a PR against the website repo because of the way
I see.
the permissions are set up. And so we would either need someone at the technical committee level to create a new user, a new automation user that has all the appropriate permissions that can do this.
Like a
and
doc
also
spot.
figure out how to get that automation user covered under the CLA.
Yeah.
Right. It's one of those chicken egg problems.
Yeah, and it's like too early to need that, probably, like need that much automation.
Yeah,
Or
I mean,
see how painful it becomes.
right. The literal problem right now is that I'm basically one of the only people that regularly reviews PRs on the website. And I need like literally someone else that I don't have to ping 3 times to get it. So if either of you would like to volunteer for that role, the requirements are, again, not super high, and we just need someone that's like Morgan and gosh, who's the other person on it?
It's definitely yeah, knowing that the content's already been reviewed and I don't have to like check that for, validity it's a much lower commitment than I thought it was. So sign me up.
Okay, great. Let me open an issue real quick so we can do this.
Hey folks, I'd also be okay with doing that. I've got a lot of interrupt-driven work and deep work sessions where I can, if something comes through, provided that most of the work is qualified already, and it's just a matter of like pushing it to somewhere. That's the wrong word. To approve the pull request. Do we have any sort of Netlify preview on those kind of pull requests, just to make sure that if somebody did something that
there's already automation and checks around all that. Like if it doesn't, like if you go look at the PRs, there's at the bottom there's checks for there's like deploy checks and stuff.
Yeah, then I can be a fallback too. Kind of reminds me of the pool of people who can do that for like the DevOpsDays.org site. It's just kind of like, hey, any one of us can do it. There's always somebody around. And to your point about SLAs,
you
have a huge SLA.
So what y'all can do is go to the OpenTelemetry/community repo and create an issue for new membership for your GitHub thing. And the team you want is
would it be an organizational membership request?
Yeah, organization member, and you want docs approve at OpenTelemetry/docs approvers. Let me put it in the chat. And then just at me or at me on the whatever, and I will sign off on it, and then we just have to wait for Hang on, I'll bug Morgan.
Yes, I've definitely read community membership guidelines. Yes. I'm already in the Slack group,
Yeah, there's not a channel for it in Slack.
but is there a specific channel?
No, not really.
Okay. Could this be my active contribution to one or more open telemetry subprojects?
Does it ask you for a link?
It says I'm actively contributing to one or more open telemetry subprojects.
Yeah, sure. You've been on this meeting several times.
Okay, okay. You're my sponsor, I'm guessing.
Yeah.
Sponsors, place outside. Okay. Amelia, you want to second me?
Go for it.
Morgan's gonna second
okay.
both of you. Amelia is not a maintainer or approver, so
That's fair. I would just go mad with power at that point.
yeah. I mean, I can't imagine why. That's why we have all of this governance around these things because. Yes, he's MTWO.
Are you reaching out to him to let him know?
I already reached out to him.
Cool.
Amelia, should have used your Mangotron. That's you on GitHub.
You can put just Austin L. Parker as your sponsor.
Okay.
For both of you, it's fine.
Okay.
Mango is technically not an approver
Oh,
or
got it.
maintainer, so
Yeah. So then I also can't. So I can't sponsor someone.
I think you have to
Probably, then?
be.
I see.
I mean, sponsors have to be approvers or maintainers
Yeah, which
of a repository, which you are not.
Mm.
So I can sponsor people in, and I can get Morgan to second the sponsorship because you have to be sponsored by 2 people. There's a lot of. I was there when we came up with this stuff, and I still think it's a little.
Heavy-handed.
Yeah, I mean, there's a purpose. And the spirit of which the purpose exists is a good spirit. It's just sometimes things can just get bogged down with boilerplate.
At least it's a one-time thing
That's true.
for each person.
Other than that, anybody got anything else exciting?
I'm guessing that the localization conversation is kind of a separate thing until we get through some of the the more formative stuff like last week about let's get a view that helps people understand what stage and what status various things are.
Yeah, that's not really. Yeah, hasn't been a ton of movement on that. I'm mostly been my time on this has been trying to make it a maximal amount of people happy with the docs situation, which
Okay, I put in that issue. Okay, do you feel like you need any assistance on that topic from last time? The whole how to put together some meaningful docs around that. Do you have like a prototype or an idea in your head?
for what?
For
the
for the status of individual projects and various different things, like this the summary page, updating the summary page, because I think the CNCF broader group was looking for that. That was what was driving that.
No, not yet. Hold on.
Amelia knows how busy I am, but I can peel off like a dedicated 1 or 2 hours, right? Just as kind of either a working session or just provide some inputs on that. So
Yeah, I just haven't had a lot of time to work on it yet. I have,
Okay.
other things.
That could be like a meaningful first sort of task or activity area.
Yeah, sure. I mean, if you want to get the site building and start, making, plugging away on it, I certainly will have no problems with people taking initiative.
Okay.
I think I did this right.
Yeah. Ping Morgan. Okay, so he'll sign off on those, and then you all should. And then once somebody from the TC gets around to it, you will both be in docs approvers, and then you can approve PRs. So the only thing really to watch out for, my guidance, I guess, would be watch out for the Dependabot PRs. Because I need to actually turn that stupid thing off one of these days. But because it's changing OTel.js, that has a tendency to break the world unless I also make sure that it, like the collector for the OpenTelemetry JS for the website isn't managed through the website repo. So I have to make sure that things kind of do get done in lockstep there. The big thing to just keep an eye out is like the stuff that says docs update. And
And if we do run into like that Dependabot thing, we'll just not do anything about that.
Yeah, or you can just like DM me on Slack if you have questions.
Exactly. It would be good to see like how you deal with that so that we know how to avoid at all costs brokenness. Cool.
Yeah, I mean most everything should tell you like, or there's a build, every PR has a build that runs, and you're not gonna break the site if you merge or something where the checks were green.
Yep.
The site will still work fine. It might break the observability for the site, but
Okay.
not necessarily the end of the world if we stop getting spans for a hot minute.
So to merge docs update PRs, it just needs one approve.
Yes, we only need one approver for for things. And yeah, for the docs update ones, we assume because all the automation is manually triggered right now.
Mhm.
So it had like a maintainer from the other SIG has to say like, yes, I want to do this.
Mhm.
And that should be rolling out to other SIGs probably next week once I go through and make the PRs. But I have to coordinate with maintainers on getting the right secret in there and stuff like that. And yeah, so that is that.
You ever
Thank
get
you
into-
both.
Okay.
Anything else?
Do you ever get into a situation where somebody else's PR rather than pushing it back to them, which would be preferred, right, with the right indications of what needs to change? Do you ever get into a situation where you need to take over that thing, make a change, and then get it, right? Like it's something, maybe a passing, somebody does the passing work, and maybe they're on to something more important, so you have to kind of pick up and do the update to the thing yourself. You're never modifying other people's PRs. You're just approving
Well,
them.
I can because I'm a maintainer. Rarely do I mean, pretty rare. Pretty rarely edit someone else's PR. Just because.
Yeah.
Like, if you look at it and it's like there are things you don't understand or that don't make sense, keep in mind with them, especially with the docs update ones, the PR will look like it comes from me, so you'd be telling me about it.
Yep. Okay. Cool.
We haven't run into an issue. I mean, we also just started this last week, or this week, so we haven't run into a lot of situations. I think the tricky part is going to be people trying to make updates to the docs on the site, but they should actually make them to the docs in the SIG.
Right. So
That part
if a PR
feels
comes
like
through, where they're editing the site docs, that we can basically just say, we can check to see if they already did it in the.
you would need to, yeah. If someone edits the site docs directly, then you would need to tell them, hey, go over here.
Right. We close the PR, but we kind of flag you and say, hey, look,
But, or you could just tell them like, hey, you need to make this PR over in this other repo, right?
And then that other repo, it gets scraped together in terms of the docs that are on the site, and that's where the edit from you comes, right? Like an automated scrape. Oh,
It's not a scrape. It's literally when the maintainers of the other SIG want to update docs, they push a button.
Yep.
And then it makes a PR on the website.
Good.
Side.
Okay. Cool.
So yeah. Anybody get anything else? Otherwise, figure we'll call it a little early. Cool. Well, hope maybe next week or not next week, week after, we'll have all this stuff going and we can move on to sort of newer and exciting stuff. Alrighty.
Awesome. Thank you.
Bye, folks.